Ladies and gentlemen, it is a real pleasure to address this fourth new Raw Materials Forum. I'm sorry I cannot be with you in person. Today, European leaders are faced with the immediate challenge of getting people back into work and fixing our financial system. But there are deeper structural problems underlining the current state of our economy. Our economies are still based on the resource-intensive growth model triggered by the first industrial revolution, and they still focus on the short-term rewards. Rising resource prices are a signal that the ingredients of our old growth recipe are limited. We have overdrawn on our financial capital. We should not risk repeating the same mistake with our natural capital. We need to transform our economic model if we want to grow in the context of these resource constraints and environmental degradation. The economic and business case for moving from resource-intensive to resource-efficient production is clear. The competitiveness of European companies will depend on access to resources for future markets. But it will also depend on how efficiently resources are used and whether they are reused. Whether we like it or not, we will have to become more resource-efficient and move towards a circular economy. The Commission has put resource efficiency clearly at the center of European economic strategy. And as we regard waste as a resource, waste is part of that story. Our roadmap for resource efficiency sets the milestone that waste should be managed as a resource by 2020, and that recycling and reuse of waste are economically attractive options due to widespread separate collection and the development of functional markets for secondary raw materials. The roadmap also calls for the virtual elimination of landfilling by 2020. These are ambitious goals for our industrialized consumer society. They will require development of new concepts for waste prevention, new systems, and new investments. There are still many barriers that make the reuse or recycling of materials difficult. Products design rarely considers what will happen at the end of the product's life. For some materials and products, progress is needed with recycling technologies. There is often a lack of cooperation between different actors in the product value chains. And all too often, markets for secondary materials are small, fragmented, and inefficient. We are determined to remove these barriers. We are reviewing our waste legislation with three main objectives in mind: reducing the generation of waste, eliminating landfilling, and limiting incineration to non-recyclable materials only. The best performance among the member states already recycle and compost more than 60% of their municipal waste. That is the goal we all need to aim for right across the European Union. To achieve this, we need to help the 10 member states that recycle or compost less than 20% to improve their act. And in case you are wondering, France is just in the middle with 40%. We intend to revise the targets in the Waste Framework Directive, the Landfill Directive, and the Packaging Directive to reflect these levels of ambition. I would like to encourage you to take part in the stakeholders' consultation that will be organized to support this process. As we develop separate waste streams and encourage recycling in this way, we also need to invest in research and innovation to make sure that we pump back these materials into our economy. That is why the European Innovation Partnership on Raw Materials, just set up by the Commission, will support pilot plans for recycling and innovative economic models and systems for secondary raw materials. The Innovation Partnership will promote cooperation between all relevant stakeholders, including businesses, research institutions, financiers and governments, in order to bring innovative ideas in the management of raw materials to the market. Ladies and gentlemen, the promotion of recycling and the use of secondary raw materials generate both environmental and economic returns. First of all, they will reduce the risks related to resource scarcity and the ever-increasing competition for raw materials. They create new business opportunities in designing resource-efficient products, developing new business models, and opening up new markets for recycled materials. This will create new jobs which are not only concentrated in the extraction of raw material, but are distributed across the whole economy. These are jobs which cannot be easily delocalized and that offer many opportunities for small and medium-sized enterprises. I would like to invite you to contribute actively to the development of the policy measures that can make this vision of a resource-efficient economy a reality. Thank you for your efforts, and thank you for your attention.